Hello everyone! It's a big pleasure to be here for the second time on Peter's blog. I would like to start today with a question. Nowadays, what sort of problem do we have in our world related to our educational system? To answer this question, my theoretical arguments are based on Ken Robson. Another question is, why this is important for us? Well, you're going to know right now. But first of all, let me tell you a little bit about Ken Robson. He's English, however, he's living in Los Angeles currently. He's also considered as one of the best experts in education in the world, as well as has published 8 books so far. Well, in 1998, Ken Robson led a commission in the United Kingdom on creativity, education, and the economy. And he created a report called Our Futures, also known as Robson Report. The main reason of the report was to raise standards in literacy and numeracy. And this report described education as a vital investment in human capital for the 21st century. And it was mentioned that one of the problems in education is the low expectations of young people's capacities. And these young people's capacities are essential to keep motivation and self-esteem in schools. This report also argues a national strategy for creativity that is essential to education. And there are important relationships between creative and cultural education. Let me show you this relation. By creative education, the report says forms of education that develop young people's capacities for original ideas and action. And by cultural education, the report says forms of education that enable them to engage positively with the growing complexity and diversity of social values and ways of life. But what is this report about? It was developed 5 main themes to this report. The first one is the challenge for education. Education faces challenges without precedents, and facing these challenges calls for a new priority in education, including a much stronger emphasis on creative and cultural education. The second one is creative potential. Creativity is possible in all areas of human activity, including arts, science, and other areas of daily life. All the people have creative abilities, and we all have them differently. The third is freedom and control. Freedom and control involves a balance between teaching knowledge and skills and encouraging innovation. In these ways, creative ability is directly related to cultural education. The fourth is cultural understanding. Education must enable them to understand and respect different cultural values and traditions. And the last one, a systemic approach. Creative and cultural education are not considered as essential in the curriculum subject. Actually, they are just general functions of education. Promoting them effectively calls for a systemic strategy due to its relevance in education. During the commission, it was asked 2 different questions to Ken Robson. The first one was, what is creativity? According to him, creativity is the process of having original ideas from several different ways. And he says, creativity today is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat with the same status. The second question was, why are not our children creative nowadays? According to Robson, our education system is based on academic ability. What does supposed to mean? Our education system appeared in order to attain the industry, and it was during the Industrial Revolution peasants migrated to the cosmopolitan city to work. However, they had two studies as well, due to the study model is basically the same all over the world. For instance, math, biology, and languages are considered the most important because they are considered the most important to the industry. They are on the top, while art, dance, and drawing classes are left in background, since the Industrial Revolution until nowadays. According to Robson, it doesn't exist an education system that could be able to teach our children art, dance, and drawing classes with the same importance as math, language, and biology are taught in our school. And schools do not consider the capacity children have, and it's during the childhood that the capacity to create appears. And one of the most important things you have to know is children are not afraid of making mistakes. There is an interesting essay which was said by Ken Robson in one of his lectures in 2006. It's about a little girl. She's from England and she was in a drawing class. And teacher was walking around the class and decided to ask her what she was drawing. She said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." But the teacher said, "How, if nobody knows how God looks like?" She said, "They will know in a minute." So, this is a real example that children are not afraid of making mistakes. In fact, they accept taking risk. And schools kill the capacity children have because our education system is concerned to take the children to the university instead of develop their capacities they have. There is another example from United States is about Michael Phelps. When he was a child, he was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. His father was concerned and decided to put him in some swim classes. He loved it so much. But his teacher told him he should stop. And more, his teacher told him if he didn't stop swim and improve his score, his grade at school, he wouldn't be anyone in his life. As everybody knows, he didn't stop swim. Otherwise, he wouldn't be what he really is nowadays, a swimming pool legend. To conclude, ability comes in many forms, but should not be defined only by traditional academic criteria. Academic ability alone will no longer guarantee success or personal achievement, and the role of teachers is to recognize young people's capacity and to provide particular conditions in which they can be done. There is an interesting quote which was said by Pablo Picasso. He said, "All the children were born artists, but the problem is keeping artists until being adults." I really appreciate for your attention. Thank you for watching and see you the next video. Okay guys?